Hi guys, this is Tabiasobi, and today I'm going to show you how to make easy green spaces in Dragon Quest Builders 2. Yeah, so making green spaces in Dragon Quest Builders has always been sort of a bit of a pet peeve of mine. In the case of Dragon Quest Builders 2, for example, if you wanted to make green spaces, you pretty much needed the help of Wrigley, the giant worm, with the one-piece hat. Now personally, I like Wrigley and all, but the way he makes green spaces or forest spaces is kind of a pain. Like first you gotta get some worm food, which means you gotta make that stuff, and I mean cooking up the food that Wrigley needs to turn stuff green isn't that bad. I mean once you have a sizable town going, even if it's not sizable, the moment you install a toilet, the night soil will pretty much, you'll have more night soil than you can throw poop at. Yeah, so when you have Wrigley turning stuff green, there's just all these little issues that pop up that make it a pain. Unfortunately, he does not turn it all green in one piece. Oh, that was terrible. There will be times, for example, when you place worm food on a spot, and if that spot is not perfectly flat, there will be times when he'll miss a spot on a lower or higher gradation. There's also the issue where worm food doesn't work on certain surfaces. Like it'll work on sand and soil, but if it's like a hard surface, the worm food's not going to work. And then occasionally, just like hiccups happen, or you forget to measure properly as far as where the seed goes, or the worm food goes, and then you'll have these little spots, like just one square that's not green, like maybe it's sand or soil that you miss, and then you'll have to use like a whole freaking worm food again in order to just get that fixed. I mean, it's not a big issue if it's just one spot, but if you've got a little bit of OCD going on, or if you're a perfectionist, like seeing that one non-green spot would kind of bother you. So yeah, Wrigley, I love you, man, but your method isn't exactly the most convenient as far as turning soil green. So what would be the better method, or at least the more convenient method? Well, eventually, once you get to a certain point in the game, you get a special tool, like a trowel, that you can use to turn swaths of soil or walls or just any material and replace them with whatever you've got highlighted in your bag. And I love this tool. Like, for example, it's really great in changing floors. Like, you might build a nice house, but you don't have the means yet to make the kind of flooring you want. And so before, you'd usually have to, break down your furniture. Well, with this special trowel, you can just sort of highlight the floor and then just change it in one fell swoop. I mean, it's not perfect. I wish there was a way to just like more accurately sort of size the square of what you're installing. But overall though, it's a lot better than having to do things one at a time. Well, here's the good news. You could use that same tool in order to get grassy soil. Yeah, because usually sometimes you'll break down grassy soil and then it'll just turn to like regular soil or something like that. However, if you use the trowel and then you sort of, say, collect a bunch of sand, or just a bunch of soil blocks that you don't need, or like chalk. Sometimes when you're going through the mines, for example, you're destroying walls, you're going to accumulate a buttload of different soil types. Yeah, so you could use that, put that in your pocket or your bag, your active bag, and then just go to a place that has grassy soil, highlight the grass, and then replace it with the extra soil that you've got. And you can actually like literally grab the grassy soil, and then you can use that same soil later on to replace something else in your island that you want to replace with green grass. And the best part is, once you accumulate enough green grass, you can use the trowel again to like replace a bunch of sand, for example, when you're trying to green up the Oasis. Yeah, like at one point in the game, you're going to get a request to create an Oasis in the Isle of Awakening. And I did that stuff with Wrigley, and I was able to satisfy the conditions, but boy was it a pain. It was just so painful. It was like pulling teeth. But with this method, what you can do is you can go to one of the explorer's shores, like Blossom Bay, for example. That has a lot of grass. Just go there, have a lot of extra sand that you don't need, or you can even break down the mountains for chalk using the right trigger square hammer move that destroys just a bunch of blocks. You can access a bunch of blocks just like that. Yeah, and then just use those blocks and then the trowel to sort of nab the grass and then replace it with the chalk or the sand that you've got. And you can easily get 999 grassy blocks this way. By the way, you probably noticed my team of monsters here that I've brought with me. I actually like this combination. So you got the Golem, which is really good at taking down tough boss type enemies or mid-boss type enemies in these islands, like golems. And then you've got the Chimera, which is great for climbing mountains. Love this guy. And then of course you have the little kitty, who's like really quick when you're just going down the ground, and is also useful for attacking as well. And as for the slime, I mean, it's a slime. You gotta have a slime in your monster party. It's like the Dragon Quest monster mascot. I'm a good slime! Or, I'm not a bad slime, I think. By the way, when I had to name my slime at Skelcatraz, I actually named it Rimuru. Ah, I'm so easy to please. Yeah, so when you get back, go to the Oasis, make sure you highlight your grass, use the trowel, and then you can start replacing sections around the little river or lake. But yeah, so all you need to do is just start replacing and voila, easy grass. Certainly a lot better than having to use Wrigley and just popping worm food everywhere while trying to estimate how big the range of the worm food is. Yeah, isn't that a lot more painless than doing it with Wrigley? Wrigley Field. I just kind of realized that right now. I see what you did there, Square Enix. He's a worm who's Wrigley, and he makes fields. And there's Wrigley Field. This is the kind of sharp insight that people watch this channel for. By the way, check out my Oasis. I actually used this little trick where I poured water on the middle island as well, and look at that. It's like I have a little mini waterfall in the middle of my Oasis. So beautiful. Yeah, so anyway, that's my quick little trick on how to easily create grassy fields. As always, if you have any thoughts or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Once again, this is Tabi Asobi, and thank you for watching.